Hello everyone, I am Adam the Ant, and this is my very first Magic Legends video, and this is going to talk about what I like about the game and just a few basics for beginners. Um, Overall, I am a really big fan of this game because when I first played Magic, my very first experience was I came from role-playing, playing a lot of, various tabletop role-playing games, and Magic was a way of I was really excited about the concept of being a planeswalker, and your deck was your library of spells that you collected across the multiverse. And back in those days, people were opening booster packs, opening packs of cards, finding cool cards that worked well with the deck they liked, and building their own sort of style. And the very first iteration of Magic, there was something called Ante, which was a way of basically, if you would win the duel, you would take a page or a card out of that person's deck. So you would ante up a card, flip it over, those cards would be the reward. And since then, of course, many of you may know that they shied away from that for various reasons, one of them being gambling laws. And so the game went quickly away from the ante format. But to me, it was pretty interesting and exciting because you would risk a good card or a spell in your deck, and to me it felt cool because it was like a duel had stakes, it had consequences. Losing a card, and potentially if your deck had some rare cards in it and you would potentially ante those up, that was scary. It was really exciting to watch people play a game where someone's rare card was flipped as an ante card, and of course you had cards in the game that could affect ante. But anyways, this isn't a conversation about ante or the old school days of Magic. That was definitely boomer Magic, if anyone remembers ante. But look those cards up; it's really fun. Anyways, the idea that I was a planeswalker and I had a bunch of spells and creatures that I could summon, I always looked at it from a role-playing perspective, how cool that would be to actually do that in a game or whatever. Well, this is that game. Magic Legends, it brings you into the world of a planeswalker. You have creatures that you can summon. You have sorceries and spells and enchantments that you can use to buff your creatures and affect the world, cast heals or destructive magic. And of course, you have all 5 colors of magic. I'm going with I started with a Sanctifier, which is a white mage. I really like the Dominaria stained glass look, so this is the armor I chose, and you can customize your character in a lot of different ways. I'm pretty generic. I don't have any mixed pieces. I just took all of the stained glass, but you can mix it up and do a lot of things. So let's take a look at the game, sort of just a big quick overview. The number one thing is you're going to have to be patient. It takes a while to get up to the part where you can actually customize your deck and start getting enough resources to kind of mess with your build, and that's when it gets really fun. But the first few hours of playing, you're just kind of grinding out the level content, and I'll just quickly show you some of the navigation, so hopefully it'll make your journey a little bit more palatable. It is kind of a grind, and I want to say it's free to play overall. Don't be tempted to spend money. If you want to, of course, you're more than welcome to. I'm sure that's a great thing for Magic Legends. But you can play the game free. You just have to spend the time to grind resources, and it does take a while. So without further ado, let's get into the game, and I'll just show you the basic parts of the interface so you can start off. Now, the first thing, I'm in my realm. Eventually, you'll get to unlock this super secret base that you have. It's sort of your Fortress of Solitude, if you will. You've got you can do some combat practice down there with these combat dummies, and you've got a whole bunch of resources here which you'll unlock the etheric core, which is your kind of foundation, and then you've got your workshop, your vault, and your study. And those 3 items are important for various aspects of the game where you want to research spells and develop up your etheric core. Now, what these do, I don't know if I really want to get into it right now because this is sort of a starter video, but eventually you're going to want to increase the level of all these things, and that'll help you through the game, the end game content, where you're able to develop your own spells, and you're also using these to help upgrade your spells. So let me show you the main part of the interface. F1 takes you here. You can see the map from here. Let's cover the map first. So when you have a map, you have different layers of the map. You go to the Eternities map, and that gives you all of the realms that you have unlocked or that you're in the process of unlocking. And so all these won't be available right away. Tizim is the first area. And when you go to the areas, you can see there are areas that once you unlock them, you'll get waypoints that you can fast travel to, and those will be yellow. And once you unlock them all, then you also have quests that are the exclamation points. These are also you're able to travel to these missions automatically without having to actually walk to them by just clicking on it and going to play mission. And you can change the difficulty so you can get better loot, and that's kind of the progression of the game. You can also queue public or queue with friends. If you queue with friends or manually, that's actually pretty cool. You get to solo stuff, or just go like with a two-man party, you and a buddy or something. You can, of course, have 3 people as your maximum party, but if you want to just play with anybody, you just click that. And Max seems to like teaming up with strangers. So that's sort of how you cycle through. Once you've done it the first time, you have to travel there and then do that. Then you'll be able to fast travel and set up the mission. So part of the story is getting through the maps and traveling with your little feet to these areas, unlocking fast travel points and missions, and then the sort of end game or later game is being able to fast travel to these missions or areas and then grind out the loot. So that's the sort of the quick and dirty about the zones. Every zone has, again, same map type layout, and then you'll go through and do the story quest when you join the map, and it'll walk you through all of it. Once you unlock it all, then you have it available. Dominaria is pretty cool because it has 3 zones: Benalia, Talaria, and Shiv. And again, same sort of action. You go to that zone map. You can see Shiv. I've only begun, so I only have a couple of outposts, or rather fast travel points unlocked, and I think I've done 2 of the realms. I don't know why I don't have that travel point. It's so close. Maybe that's where I'll go next. Anyways, so you'll unlock these as you go through your story quests, and then you'll be able to do all that stuff. Let's see. So that is the map button and sort of how you navigate. Back to the Eternities. Now, there's 2 other places. Of course, your realm is your Fortress of Solitude secret place, so I showed you that. The other place is the Sanctum. The Sanctum is the public hub. This gives you a couple of different things. You've got a PvP encounter down here. I don't really want to go there and show you, so you can just go to the Sanctum and check it out. It's got PvP vendors. It's got a couple of different markets and tailors, and a area where you can just kind of interact with other people, maybe a dance party. I don't know if there's a dance command in this game. If there's not, it's a shame, but you can just hang out with your friends at the Sanctum. That's like the public. I don't really know. Maybe there'll be events or role-playing, like maybe you can have a wedding at the Sanctum. I expect people to really, I don't know, do what they want to do, but you'll see a lot of players roaming around in the Sanctum. Okay, enough of that. Let's see. I don't want to make this video too long as far as that, but let me just quickly show you the really fun part of the library. This is where you build your deck, and as you can see, I have an Orzhov team-based deck. This is where you build and sort of look at all your spells you have available. Over the course of adventuring, you will unlock spells of all the colors, regardless of what color mage you are or where you're adventuring. So as you can see, I have a Sanctifier, and mostly I'm a white mage, but I did splash black only for mutation at this point. But I was dabbling with a few different black sorceries and a few different creatures. And at the end of the day, I really wasn't impressed by... I have a lot of artifacts and items that help my white creatures. So at the end of the day, I went with all 5 of my creatures being white, and then mutation gives me a buff +2 -1. I've got another creature buff, and then a couple of spells that have stun effects to sort of a little bit crowd control to kind of mitigate damage and help me. And then I've got my big sorcery AoE damage, and then a couple of heals to keep my my squad alive. So it's pretty straightforward to build. I don't know if this is what you consider. If I was playing Magic, it would be a fair deck. It would be creatures and a couple of spells that complement the creatures and some heals. Nothing really mind-blowing as far as how the combos or whatever. You can get into this game and play a lot of really interesting character types. The Sanctifier is a little bit... I just like the Sanctifier playstyle. It has some off heals and some of the abilities through the actual loadout, or how do you see that? The stats. If you go to your character stats, you can see what it does. The Sanctifier has all of these different, the Divine Bolt, the Wave of Radiance, and Salvation. And as if you hit level up, you see this level info, gives you all of the special abilities that tie in. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is gaining lifelink and mending aura, things that half of all healing received from lifelink will also heal nearby allies. So I have all these weird off heals and all these interesting things that work in conjunction with my character and the synergy of my deck that I built. So it helps in a team. I'm helping to keep everyone alive, and of course keeping my creatures alive, which is fun. So back to deck building or deck construction. You do have some limits in the game. You have a limit of creature points, and as you can see, each creature, if you look down at the very bottom right of the creature card on the far right, it says common creature 2 points. This is a common creature 2 points, and this is a 3 point, 2 points, and 3 points. So it totals up to 12, and that's what you have as a maximum. So you can't go over that, and that'll enable you. Obviously, you can build a deck with 6 2-slot creatures, but some of the 3 are so big and so powerful. Like the Griffin is great, and so is this Angel of Vengeance. So I wanted to put 2 of them in, and obviously that only gives me 6 points to remain. So I think that's a good balance of creatures. You can build 4 creature decks. You can try different things. Also, the mana cost, although it doesn't look important in a way because it's an action RPG, so things are constantly moving. It's not turn-based, so you don't have to worry about drawing mana and then having mana on a particular turn. Instead, the mana is sort of always growing, and as you adventure, you have to be engaged in a fight. So you don't just sit. You can't just sit back and wait and replenish your mana pool. You have to be engaged in combat for your mana to grow. Once your mana grows and you're able to cast your spell, you'll see that it's available in your spell bar. So average cost does have an impact on how quickly you can cast things. What I'm trying to do in this deck is I'm trying to put all my creatures out, and then after that, I'm trying to support them with the spells. If you get a bad draw, if you will, what you'll end up doing is you'll end up having all your creatures out, and then when the new cards show up in your action bar, they will sometimes be the same creatures. They won't always be spells. Just like in Magic, when you're trying to draw something you need, and you need a creature, because you need to drop that blocker to stay alive, and you end up drawing a spell instead, then you might lose the game. Same thing in this. You have to kind of cycle through your cards. I don't have any way of manipulating my deck, so I just have to simply cast a creature again if I am in a position where I need to draw another spell, or maybe I need to do something else that's over here, and I have all creatures on deck. I'll have to just cast another creature. Usually what I'll do is I'll cast the creature that has taken the most damage, so I'm replenishing its health, because you can only have one of each out. You can't have multiple. You can't just keep summoning angels and have 25 on the board. It'll replace the angel you already have on the board. So hopefully that makes sense of why I'm explaining it this way. So I think those tips will give you a good start to your Magic Legends experience. I haven't explored the other builds, so please take this kind of guide with a grain of salt and explore what you like. If you prefer to be a red mage or a green starting mage, they might have a completely different sort of of course you'll have your different, what is it called? Your basic abilities and your basic like starting stats and starting traits and starting and we haven't even talked about equipment or artifacts yet, so that'll have to be a different video. But I wanted to just give you a starting point for the game. Hopefully you get into it, and then we'll make some more videos on equipment and how to kind of look towards improving your character and your build and kind of what's next for the end game. So I hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, check my channel out. I'm often streaming live on Twitch, so go check me out there. I play a variety of games, but I'm really into Magic Legends right now, so come on over. I'm still, I feel, at the beginning. I've only just begun my kind of advanced grind into improving my loadout score. This up here in the top left is where you look for how you're doing. This is the representation of your abilities and your equipment, and sort of a way for people to team up with sort of a correct or a equal power level, so you can group up and have fun together in the various dungeons. Okay, have a great rest of your day, and again, appreciate you being here and checking out my content. Take care.